So I know what you're probably thinking. The Subaru Forester is made by a Japanese company, and it's built in Japan. So why is American Cars and Racing testing it? Well, yes, the very all-new 2025 Subaru Forester is currently built in Japan, but later this year, Subaru is going to be bringing production to its factory in Indiana, and early next year, it's going to start building this hybrid model there. That's because the Forester is Subaru's best-selling model in the United States, which is probably enough of an excuse for American Cars and Racing to give it a look, but since production is coming here, we definitely want to check it out, just to see what to expect and maybe to compare this one to the American-built model when we get our hands on one of those. The standard Forester has a 180 horsepower, 2.5 liter flat 4-cylinder engine, and while this also has one of those, it adds to that an electric traction motor and an electric generator, and the combined output is 194 horsepower. Now, unlike some other all-wheel drive hybrids, including the Toyota RAV4, which are essentially front-wheel drive hybrid vehicles with a separate electric motor that only drives the rear axle and no mechanical connection between the two ends, Subaru's sends all its power through a transmission into the center transfer case and its symmetrical all-wheel drive system. So you just have one power source cranking all the wheels at the same time. Keeps things simple. Pricing for the Forester Hybrid starts at $38,015 for a premium and steps up through sport and limited trims to the Touring, which tops out at $44,715. It's about a $1,500 premium over the standard Forester, although the levels of equipment don't precisely match up. So you get dual digital displays, including this large portrait-oriented touchscreen for the infotainment system. It also handles the climate control and other functions, but you still get a volume knob, a tuning knob, and buttons for the temperature and defrosters. Touring also comes with a 360-degree camera system and a video rear view mirror, in case you got the back loaded up with stuff, can't see out the rear window. But if you don't have it loaded up, I challenge you to find a vehicle with a larger glass to metal ratio. The visibility out of this thing is incredible. The belt line's very low, the windows are very tall, and that's before you even open this pretty large sunroof. So with the top of the line Touring, you get this kick-activated tailgate that opens up into a pretty good size cargo area. It's not best in class, but it's got a good shape and remote releases for the back seats. One thing you won't find in here, if you look under the floor, is a spare tire, because that's where the hybrid battery is instead. If you get a flat, you gotta go in here and get the Fix-A-Flat kit. One place you'll have no trouble finding space in the Forester Hybrid is the second row for passengers. I'm 6'1", that seat is set comfortably for me, and I've got a couple inches of leg room to spare, and a couple more up here. Okay, pop quiz. Want to guess why they curved the seat like that and put this big panel on the floor? Well, that's so you can use it as a step. Because do you even own a Subaru if you don't have a kayak or a tent or something strapped to the roof? So one thing to remember about Subarus is that even though they have the outdoorsy image, they don't really come from the factory as off-roaders. This has all-season tires, not all-terrain tires. But even with them, it handles roads like this very well. The suspension is set up perfectly, and it has 8.7 inches of ground clearance, which Subaru has found to be the magic number for its SUVs. Unless you get one of those wilderness models, which crank that up a little bit. 2025 Forester is not available in the wilderness trim yet, but you can be sure one's on the way. Subaru hasn't confirmed whether or not it will be available as a hybrid yet, though. Regardless of what kind of tires or trim you're talking about, this of course has the X-Mode traction management system with setting for snow and dirt and deep snow and mud. The only issue with this is you can't use it when you're moving. It locks out. So plan ahead. Not sure how much the gravel road is getting picked up on the microphone, so I'm going to pull out on the pavement for a second here just to let you hear how quiet this thing is. The engine really doesn't make much noise at all unless you really get into it, and even then it's so smooth. But when you're just cruising along, this thing is as quiet as any vehicle in this class, and it spends a lot of time in EV mode, which makes it even quieter. Of course, this has Subaru's EyeSight package of electronic driver aids, which use cameras to give you automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, and in the touring, a lane tracing system that requires you to keep your hands on the wheel, but feels like it doesn't because it does a great job holding the lane. The only downside of the camber-based system is that you don't get front parking sensors, but they do get them in the rear. 194 horsepower is pretty average for a compact SUV. Definitely doesn't put this in the sporty category. But while you won't win any drag races with it, it doesn't feel underpowered. And out here doing this kind of driving, it's just right. As far as towing is concerned, this is rated to lug up to 1,500 pounds. Of course, the big reason you buy a hybrid is fuel economy, and this one gets 35 miles per gallon combined, which compares to 28 or 29 for the non-hybrid Forester, but 39 for an all-wheel drive RAV4 hybrid. And I think a big part of the reason for that is that all-wheel drive system I was talking about earlier. While the RAV4 operates as a front-wheel drive vehicle and just kicks in that rear motor when it needs it, this has the full-time all-wheel drive going. So the extra mechanical friction is probably making this a little less efficient, as is that high-riding Subaru stance that adds a bit of aerodynamic drag. But what you get in return is that instant all-wheel drive response, and you don't feel like the two ends are having a fight with each other. It's all seamless. It's not the sort of thing you're going to notice in everyday driving, but on slippery surfaces and in the snow and on slippery hills in particular, it just takes all the surprises away. Cars less likely to get upset as the power gets shuffled around. I have to mention the visibility one more time because it really stands out in a world where every car feels like a tank. Front, sides, even to the back, over your shoulder. You'd have to drive a convertible to get a better view out than this. So the big three questions for this: is it better than the old Forester? Absolutely. Not even close. Is it the best-in-class compact SUV? That's a little trickier to answer because taste is involved there, but if you like this package and the outdoorsy angle, it's hard to beat. Plus, Subarus are notoriously reliable, safe, and known to hold their value very well. And this is a top safety pick plus, and I don't see any reason why the other things would change. As for the last question, will the US built version of the Forester hybrid be as good as this one? Well, what are you looking at me for? I can't answer that yet. But if you subscribe to this channel, we'll let you know as soon as we get our hands on one.